Hi out there. This is my Victory cross country. It's a 2012 with 47,000 miles on it. I decided that I wanted to pull the shifter mechanism out of the inside, replace it and everything. I was having trouble shifting down into first gear, like at a stoplight or something like that. I couldn't find it, wouldn't go down. I'd have to go back up into neutral, back up into second gear, and then click it back down into first. So I understand that there's been some, minor issues with this thing, and it's not that big a job to do. So I thought that I would just go ahead and do it and change the shifter and everything in it. I pulled the cheek cover off, and I pulled the grill out only to give myself some room to get this out. It's not that bad a job, really. I mean, you got to snake it up between all the wires and get it up into where you can get it free. But it goes down underneath and goes into the voltage regulator, I guess it is. And it's a bit of a job, but you know what? I think in the end it's going to be well worth it, because I don't want to put any stress on these wires when I pull this cover off. So that's where I'm at right now. I'm going to take and I got to remove the floorboard, remove the shifting linkage, remove the clutch. That part's really easy. I mean, anybody should be able to get that off. There's two Allen bolts way up underneath here that you pull out, disconnect this arm at the shaft right here, and everything should come off without a problem. The clutch is not really an issue because you do it like you would with any other clutch. This is a hydraulic, but that's the same as removing it as if you had a cable. And I do love the hydraulic clutch, by the way. So I'm going to go ahead and get this off, get the shifting linkage off, and then we'll get back over here. I don't think there's any need for me to videotape that, because it's pretty straightforward. Anybody that can handle a wrench should be able to get that stuff off of there. So I'll be back. The floorboard's off. The shifting linkage is all disconnected and everything, so now I just got to take all the bolts. I got the clutch disconnected. Just got to take off all this. Now, there is one bolt, I believe, one or two bolts, I believe, that are shorter than all the rest, and I believe they're down here. So we'll, when we get down there, we'll look and make sure, because we don't want to put those somewhere where they don't belong. That's still the same length. That's still the same length. Okay, that's a short one, and that goes just behind the linkage. Okay. Now, chances are I'm going to get oil behind this, but I've got to get this cover off first and disconnect this arm. So I don't want to get all the bolts out of it just yet. We're going to see what we have to do here. Oh. Looks like it's a 3mm, or 4mm, I'm sorry. There it is. Looks like they used some sort of a gasket behind it, and it really stuck to the cover behind it. So, they do have a notch in it, if you can see that. That evidently is at the very bottom of the cover down here. So, just to make a note of that. Okay. Now, got to get this off, and it's a Star or a Torx wrench. Let's see what we can do here. Okay, we got all the bolts out, but this one, this is going to take off the cover here, and be careful because there's an O-ring behind it, and you've got to get that O-ring out. We'll take, there we go. So we got the cover off, and now we got to get the O-ring out. And my gasket set that I have, I think, has a new cover in it, a new gasket. So, and there's that. All right. So now we got to get this out. That holds the shaft in for the clutch. And looks like it's number 8. That comes out easy enough. And I think I ordered a new one of these also just for the hell of it. This one looks fine though. So I guess sometimes they get a little burring or something on the edges of them, but I haven't, I don't have anything like that on this. And now this, okay, and there's that. That's the clutch spar, I guess they call it, or something like that. But anyways, that's out. Now I can finish taking out the rest of the bolts and try and get that cover off. There's that. I got one more here. I think, no, I've got one more down here. That looks like all of them. Okay. Now, and we're getting a little bit of oil out of it. But that's okay, because I'm going to change the oil in it when I get it all back together again anyways. We'll let it drain out. Okay, I'll get back to you as soon as this finishes draining. I can't see all of us sitting here watching that. Okay, I think we've just about got, and it's still draining a little bit, but let's see if we can get the cover off it. And there it is. Okay. Now see why I didn't want to disconnect that with this thing hooked in, because it's heavy and I didn't want to do any damage to the cable. So there it is, and that's the little gem that I've got to replace. And we're gonna see how that works out. I don't see any particular wear on it right now, but time will tell. Let me see what happens when I get the new one over here, and we'll do some investigating. Hopefully that's my issue. I don't see any reason why there should be any other issue with it. Okay, I'm going to put this down because it gets heavy. Okay, still draining a little bit of oil out of it. Some people say drain the oil first. You know, it doesn't matter. The oil's coming out of it anyways, no matter what. So, one way or the other, the oil's coming out of it. Okay, I'm going to show you about where how that shaft goes in. All right, the new shaft, there's a little boss on the back side of here that fits over this shaft here, and the spring goes around it, and then there's this pin that comes between the two springs in the shifter, and then that lines up way back in here with your gearing. You just want to make sure that it's in there good, and I'll show you on the old one, if I can get this right. This part here fits into a boss in the bottom of the engine. This goes around that boss, and then that pin right there goes between this spring. Okay, so it would be in there like that. All right, that's just to give you an idea for anybody who's kind of, you know, doesn't really want to try this or whatever. But anyways, that's how it goes in. It takes a little work to get that thing to get in there, but it does fit. And I guess now I'm ready to button it back up again. I'm gonna put the gasket on. I think I got it pretty well cleaned up on that and the cover. I just want to do a little cleaning on the cover before I stick it on there. So let me just do that and we'll get back to you. Okay, everything's in there. It looks like it's in the proper location. The manual calls for 115 inch-pounds for a torque. So that's what we're going to give it. And again, we'll do that in a star-shaped pattern, if there is such a thing on this. That's all of them. All right. Now, I guess we'll put the cover back on here. And put the O-ring back in it. Okay, that looks like it's in there, hopefully. One of these, I'm going to use it. Okay. The book says this is supposed to be torqued to 40 inch-pounds. That's it. All right. Those are supposed to be torqued to 50 inch-pounds. there. There we go. There's that one. This cable snaked down back down where it belongs, and that's not going to be easy. So just got to get it down in there. No, it's straight. Okay. I don't know if you can see it hanging out underneath there, but it's got to be plugged into the regulator. And that's about it. Now from here, I just put the chuck back on, put the grill back in it, put the floorboard back on. Oh yeah, put the cover back on the side there, side cover. Okay, it's all buttoned up. Everything's put back together again, and I'm gonna give it a shot. But it's pouring rain outside, so I can't take it out on the road. But we're gonna fire it up here, see how everything works, see if it runs through the gears. And we'll give it a shot. Give it a little bit to warm up. I'm happy to report that the shifting is absolutely flawless in it now. I mean, it shifts better than it did when it was brand new. I don't know how else to help anybody. I think if you want to spend about $150 in parts and about 2 hours in time, and you have a bike with maybe 30, 40, 50,000 miles on it, you might want to give it a shot. All I know is that it really helped this bike a lot. I noticed over the last, maybe 6 months or so, shifting it through the gears was a little harder than it used to be. And I'm not having any problem now. Finding first gear is right there. So if you want to give it a shot, go ahead, try it. If I helped you at all, give me a thumbs up. If not, well, I'm sorry. I did my best I can. I'm not a professional photographer here or anything. So, and don't forget to comment. Don't forget to comment. That helps me become a little better at what I'm doing here. So I appreciate it. Have a good one. Ride safe. Bye-bye.